Hello everyone. So our today's topic is excess demand. Okay. Now this is very important topic because um, every time in board exam, one question definitely comes from this topic. Okay. So what is excess demand? It's simple. See, it refers to a situation where actual aggregate demand is greater than planned aggregate demand. Okay, where actual AD is greater than planned AD, means the producers planned that there will be a demand of 100 units, but in actual what happened, the demand goes to 200 units of goods and services. So the plan was 100 and the actual became 200. So the actual is more than the planned. So whenever this situation arises, it is called excess demand. Okay. And because of this situation, a gap creates. There's a gap here. Okay. And this gap is known as inflationary gap. Why? Because of this, the producers estimated that there might be demand of 100, so they produced 100 units. Okay, but in actual the demand goes to 200 units, so demand is more and supply is less. Okay, so what happens when demand is more and supply is less? Price increases. Okay, the situation of inflation exists in a country. Okay, so excess demand is a situation where planned AD or actual AD is more than the planned AD, and because of this situation a gap occurs and the gap is called inflationary gap. Okay. Now we can see here from the diagram, this is a diagram, this is AS curve, this is planned AD and this is actual AD. Okay. Now planned AD is less than, or we can say actual AD is more than the planned AD. So this portion, okay, this was the equilibrium. Okay, so this gap, this KT, this gap KT, it is known as inflationary gap. Okay, this KT gap is known as inflationary gap. Okay, now there are few reasons for this. Okay, reasons for excess demand. Okay, what are the reasons or what are the causes for excess demand? First is rise in propensity to consume. Okay, rise in propensity to consume, it means that, okay, first let me tell you that what is propensity to consume. It means the portion of income which we are going to spend on purchase of goods and services. Suppose my income is rupees 100, okay, and I am willing to spend rupees 70. So what will be my propensity to consume? 0.70 or 70% will be my propensity to consume. Okay, so when there is a rise in propensity to consume, this becomes the reason for excess demand. Means earlier people of a country were spending 50 rupees out of 100, but now they are willing to spend rupees 70. So the propensity increases from 50 to 70. There is a rise in propensity to consume. Okay, so this becomes, I'm not saying about the one person, this this applies to the whole country because we are studying macroeconomics. Okay, we are not studying micro. Okay, so rise in propensity to consume becomes the reason for excess demand. Okay, now second is decrease in taxes. How decrease in taxes become the reason for excess demand? See, if person's income is 100, now 20 rupees is given for tax and remaining 80 is left for consumption. Okay, now what happened? The government reduced the taxes. Earlier it was 20, now it is 10. So how many rupees are left for consumption? 90 rupees. So as compared to earlier one, the tax has been reduced, and because of that more money is available with the consumer to spend. Earlier consumer was having 80 rupees, now he is having 90 rupees. So more money uh, is with the consumer to spend. Okay, so more money is willing, if a person is willing to spend more money, then it means demand will be more. Okay, and this applies to the whole country, not a single person. Okay, so this decrease in taxes become the reason for excess demand. Okay, now fall in imports means decrease in imports leads to the reason for excess demand. How? Decrease in imports due to high international prices means whenever the international prices are high, we limit our imports. Okay, we reduce our imports. That's not normal thing. Okay, but the demand will be the same. Demand will not reduce. Okay, government will not say that we are not importing goods, so you should spend less. Government will not say this. Okay, so what will happen? Demand is just a second. Demand is 100. Okay, and earlier when we were importing, the supply was 100. Okay, but due to high prices, the now earlier demand was 100 and supply was 100. Okay, because of imports. Now prices in the international market rises. So what we will do, what the country will do, country will reduce its import, but the demand will be same. Okay, there will not be any change in the demand. So earlier we were supplying 100 units. Now because we have reduced the imports, our supply is 80 units. So demand is more and supply is less. Okay, so in comparison to supply, the demand is more. So because of fall in imports, we can see there is excess demand. Okay, and this will lead to inflation, which is called inflationary gap. Okay, now second is rise in imports. Okay, what happened in this situation? Increase in exports may lead to decrease in supply in the home country. This has happened in India once, if I remember, that there was a commodity which India used to produce. Okay, now what happened earlier, that the government exported that good limitless. Okay, means the requirement in the home country was not fulfilled. Because exports were more. Okay, exports were more as compared to the demand which is required, which was there in the home country. So if we produce 100 units, okay, and we know that in our home country the demand is 50. Okay, 50 units, and the rest 50 we can export. But what happened? Demand was 50, but we exported 70. Out of 100 units which we produced, in the home country demand was 50, but without estimating any quantity of demand, we exported 70 units. And how many units are left? 30. Okay, now demand is 50 and the quantity of good is 30. So what happened? Demand is more and supply is less in our home country. So as compared to the supply, our demand increases. Our demand is more as compared to supply. Okay, so because of excess exports, because of exports of goods more than the limit, what happened? The quantity of goods which must be used by home country didn't get the quantity of good in a proper way. So what happened? Because of rise in exports, a situation comes which is called excess demand. Okay, and as we know, more demand and less supply, what happens? The price increases, so which causes inflationary gap. Okay, now the last one is increase in government expenditure. Okay, increase in government expenditure lead to increase in income of poor people, which lead to increase in demand. Okay, so now in India, as we can see, the majority of people are poor or middle class. Okay, if government increases its expenditure, okay, what will happen? The poor people will get money. Okay, they will work for the government in various projects. Okay, they will get money, and earlier they were getting 100 rupees, now they will be, or I should say, they were not getting anything. Okay, now after getting work, they are getting income of rupees 1000 per month. So earlier they were getting nothing, but now they are getting 1000. So demand will increase, and majority of people comes from poor background. So apply this scenario in case of whole country, when there is lakh and crores of people. So what will happen? Suddenly the demand will increase. I'm not saying about the one person, that one person is getting 1000, earlier he was not getting anything. Lakh of person, crores of person now are getting rupees 1000. So automatically the demand will increase in a short duration. So what will happen? This will lead to the situation of excess demand. Okay, so these are the few reasons which causes the excess demand, and because of which there is a gap which is called inflationary gap.